Hello there. So, what am I doing in this video right now? Well, tomorrow I'm going to be playing a show where I'm going to be debuting a brand new song that I wrote for the Adventure to Fate Dungeons soundtrack. It's basically a reimagined version of the game's dungeon theme, which is super dark, super ominous. And I thought it was a great opportunity to make it metal, as I often tend to do. So here's the riff. So, as you might have heard, this type of music might sound a lot more appropriate in like a first-person shooter like Doom, as opposed to an RPG like what Adventure to Fate is. But to me, it made the most sense given the nature that it is, one, a fantasy world, but also the sound of the music, the way that it's been repurposed, to me conveys this feeling of desperation and the kind that comes with like fighting for your life, right? Fighting for survival. So it's super just kind of visceral and almost primal. I just felt like that was so appropriate for this particular theme. To me, it's especially appropriate because you as the player hear this song very early in the game and you've just created your character, so it's at its weakest, right? So it would make a lot of sense for you to feel kind of desperate and afraid and scared because you're not leveled up yet. So that's kind of the thinking behind this. So for context, here's the original version as heard in the game. So obviously it's a dark dungeon environment, and the ideas musically were to create this feeling of unease and trepidation and use like a lot of atmospherics, to create a very ominous vibe there. So I kind of went down a rabbit hole with exploring ways to allow for the music to tell the story, given the fact that there wasn't a lot of written story included in the game. So it left a lot of room to really get creative and explore ways to kind of point towards things without actually saying anything out loud. And in particular with this track, there was a bass line that I wrote that I thought would be a cool way to kind of personify the protagonist's heartbeat. So you can hear that right here. And this is offset by all of those atmospheric elements, that ghostly piano and that acoustic guitar. The idea was essentially like, because the bass is central, like in the mix, it represents the heartbeat. And as you hear, it's very like short and with a sharp attack, and all of the ghostly elements are external, right? They're panned left and right. They're meant to represent the ominous looming threat that isn't quite seen yet. Might even be ghosts. This is a dungeon, there's a lot of undead in there, so it's just kind of like going down that rabbit hole and exploring those types of ideas. And then of course, the riff itself is meant to be this big crescendo and essentially kind of unleashing this primal fury within the protagonist, again, fighting for their life, fighting for survival, and just getting brutal with it. So just wanted to add in a few of those fun facts. So let's check out the full riff in its entirety. right, so as you hear, this is tuned very low. So if you happen to have a 7-string guitar, you want to tune your low B string down a whole step to A. But if you have a 6-string guitar, you're just going to tune it A, E, A, D, G, B. So get some thick strings and you'll be okay with that. So if you are an apt pupil tier supporter, you will already find the tabs located at the bottom of this page. If you're watching this and you do not have access to that, but you would like to gain access, I encourage you to consider becoming a supporter. I'm going to be doing a live stream music lesson for the full song on this piece, as well as other ones in the future coming up soon. So we'd love to have you. Thanks.